What's going on, NFL fans? The Jalen Ramsey trade watch continues, and it's a situation that's getting more intriguing by the day. Back in April, the Miami Dolphins made it known they were looking to trade the star cornerback. Waiting until after June 1st made sense from a salary cap perspective. But here we are, well past that date, and Jalen Ramsey is still a Dolphin. So, the big question on everyone's mind is, when will he actually be traded? So far, the Los Angeles Rams have been the only team consistently linked to Ramsey. But even there, things seem to be complicated. Rams head coach Sean McVay recently mentioned that there are still some hurdles to overcome to get a deal done. The core issue for the Dolphins is leverage. They've made it pretty clear that the relationship with Ramsey has soured and they want to move on. To get any real bargaining power, they desperately need a second team to enter the bidding. Without that, potential trade partners know Miami is in a tough spot. The Dolphins might decide to play the waiting game. But what happens if that wait extends into training camp? That's where things could get even more interesting. It's highly unlikely, given the circumstances, that the Dolphins actually want Ramsey participating in their training camp. If Ramsey agrees to stay away, though legally, they can't keep him away if he wants to report and work, the Dolphins will likely continue to hold out for what they deem the right deal. But what if no deal materializes before the regular season kicks off? Are the Dolphins prepared to pay Jalen Ramsey his hefty salary to simply stay at home until a trade eventually happens? This situation is starting to draw parallels to what happened with Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans back in 2021. Watson was almost traded to the Dolphins before Week 1 that year. Then, as the trade deadline approached, it nearly happened again. When it didn't, the Texans ended up paying Watson for the rest of the season before finally trading him in the offseason. Now, considering the massive haul the Texans got from Cleveland Brown for Watson in March 2022, you could argue that paying him to stay home was money well spent for Houston. However, the Dolphins are not going to get anywhere near that kind of return for Ramsey, especially after the season. And to make matters worse, paying Ramsey to sit out would cost them more than double the $10 million the Texans paid Watson not to play for years ago. The very fact that a trade hasn't happened yet is a strong indicator that things are not going smoothly. At the end of the day, the Dolphins might be stuck waiting for an unfortunate injury to a key player on another team. That might be the only way a real market for Ramsey's contract materializes. And until that happens or a team blinks, the Dolphins could find themselves paying Jalen Ramsey week by week to not play for them. It's a messy situation with no easy answers. When do you think Jalen Ramsey will finally be traded, and where will he land? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. What's up, Dolphins fans? We've got some news that isn't exactly ideal for Miami, especially considering the ongoing situation with Jalen Ramsey. As you know, the Dolphins front office has been exploring a trade for Ramsey since April, but a concrete deal hasn't materialized yet. Now, if Ramsey is indeed traded, the Dolphins would obviously be in the market for a high-caliber replacement in their secondary. There are still some question marks around the depth and top-end talent there if Ramsey departs. One name that had been floated as a potential target for Miami was Jaire Alexander. The Green Bay Packers released the star cornerback in early June, and many saw him as a possible like-for-like replacement for Ramsey, should that trade happen. Well, we got some bad news on that front on Wednesday afternoon. Jaire Alexander has decided to sign with another team. He's heading to the Baltimore Ravens on a one-year deal, reuniting with his former Louisville College teammate, quarterback Lamar Jackson. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Alexander's deal with the Ravens is for $4 million, with an additional $2 million available through incentives in 2025. He'll be joining an already stacked Ravens secondary that features All-Pros Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, plus first-round rookie Malachi Starks. Losing out on Alexander is significant because, much like Ramsey, he's a multi-time All-Pro talent. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2020 and 2022 and made the Pro Bowl in both of those seasons. After 7 years with the Packers, 2025 will be his first season in a different uniform. He brings a resume of 287 tackles, 12 interceptions, and 70 pass deflections in 78 career games. So, what does this mean for the Dolphins? With Jair Alexander now officially off the market and a Baltimore Raven, Miami's options for a top-tier replacement, should they trade Jalen Ramsey, have become more limited. If Ramsey does leave before the offseason is over, the Dolphins will have a significant hole to fill. As it stands, if Ramsey is not on a roster, the team's top cornerback options would likely include Kader Kohou, Storm Duck, and Cam Smith. While these players have potential, losing Ramsey and then missing out on a player like Alexander puts more pressure on the current group and the front office to find solutions. This development certainly makes the Jalen Ramsey situation even more critical for Miami. What are your thoughts, Dolphins fans? Is this a big blow? Who should the Dolphins target if Ramsey is traded? Let us know in the comments below.